Good morning, everybody. As Judy has told you, each year, the Williamson County Chamber Foundation, Leadership Brentwood Alumni Association, and the Youth Leadership Brentwood Organization present college scholarships. These scholarships are handed out to high school seniors who have been through the program. The applications come from the recent graduates. These are the top student leaders and academic scholars in the Brentwood area. They are the cream of our crop. Our first scholarship this year winner is Sarah Catherine Burlock, Brentwood High School senior. Sarah Catherine will be attending University of Knoxville in the fall in the nursing program. Sarah Catherine's parents, David and Christine Burlock, are here. If you'd like to stand. Let's recognize our parents. Sarah Catherine, would you like to say a few words?
I'm Sarah Catherine Herlock, just like you said. I would first just like to take a moment to thank you, Mr. Brentwood, so much for having this wonderful opportunity to go to such a wonderful program. And I got to meet so many wonderful new friends and really expand my horizons and meet a lot of people and learn so much about my community. And I'd also like to thank the Chamber so much for having this wonderful opportunity and this is this scholarship. It means so much.
Our next recipient is Carter Green, Ravenwood High School senior. Carter will also be attending the University of Tennessee in the Honors Business Program. Carter's mother and brother Charlie are here with us. If you'd like to stand, Sally. Charlie. Carter, would you like to say a few words? All right.
All right, so good morning, Williamson County Chamber of Commerce. Like you said, my name is Carter Green, and I just graduated from Ravenwood High School. My plans for the fall are to go to the University of Tennessee in Knoxville, go Vols. And I have been accepted into the business program and the venture program, which is kind of like the living learning community for business up there. And basically, I will live and study with business kids in the same dorm. I would like to receive my undergraduate in business administration and kind of focus on management with that, and eventually receive my MBA. I plan on spending my summers in the Nashville area doing internships, such as the one I did this year with Churchill Mortgage, which was a lot of fun. And this will hopefully help me narrow down my choices of which industry I would like to go into. So thank you so much for this scholarship. I'd like to thank Lynn Tucker and everybody in the chamber for their hard work with this. And this money will definitely help me with my college tuition. So thank you so much.
All right, well done. If you all give another round of applause for both these very fine young people.
Our future is in wonderful hands with the like of these two. And Brentwood, as you know, is one of the top 10 for kids in America. So we are so glad to have him here representing us. Leadership is great, and leadership is supported by the families, which makes it very, very wonderful. Thank you so much. Congratulations. And we look forward to things in the future for you two wonderful young people. With that, I'd like to introduce our President, CEO, Matt Largent, who will come and present our program today. And we're very honored again to have all of you here. Some of you for the first time, but I hope certainly not for the last. Thank you, Matt.
Thanks, Judy. Appreciate that. Let me go. Perfect. All right. Good morning, everybody. There you go. I'm not a morning person either, so. But the reason we have these at this ungodly hour is because not everybody can make a lunch, right? So 4 times a year, we actually have breakfast meetings for those who can't make the lunch meeting. So thank you all for taking the time to be here today. Thank you, Williamson Source, for live streaming the meeting this morning, and also just know that'll be available on our website in a couple days. You can take a look at the content there. So we appreciate that. And I'm thrilled that we've got a great program today with one of our largest and most important corporate citizens, LBMC. I'm thrilled for what you guys are going to talk about, and more importantly, the fact that you're staying in Williamson County and Brentwood. That's a great thing for everybody. We spent a lot of time working with our existing business because we know about 70% of the jobs actually come from our existing companies. So again, thank you for your continued investment in the county. Certainly, that's very much appreciated. I'm going to start actually today by talking about our second signature event of this year, which was the golf tournament. You'll see some slides come up. There you go. I want to thank you for all the sponsors, the in-kind sponsors, the golfers, the volunteers, the staff. We had over 200 people golf this year. We had a bunch of people come to the reception, but these things don't plan themselves, as everybody knows, and they don't happen by accident. So I want to thank Abby and Jenna with our staff in particular for the months they put into making this golf tournament a great event, and also the committee that did a fantastic job. Emily Dresch with Metropolitan Bank, Bart Jones with Investment Planners co-chaired this event for the second time and did such an amazing job. They'll probably be forced to do this forever, given how well they did, but they were just fantastic. And again, these things don't plan themselves, and I want to thank the committee who was a big part of this. I also want to take this opportunity to thank our presenting and our home run sponsor, Nissan. Again, these events wouldn't be possible without the generous support of companies like Nissan. So I want to invite to the stage Vicki Smith and Chris Sarka to accept a token of our appreciation. Okay, also I want to take this opportunity to thank our championship sponsor, Williamson Medical Center, which does so much with us and so much for the community. And so I'd like to invite Katie Beth and Stephanie to the stage to accept a token of our appreciation as well. Steve Dykes was supposed to be here, but he knew he was going to sit next to me, so perhaps we probably didn't show up. Thanks again for everybody who helped out on the golf tournament. It was a great event, and we look forward to an even better one next year. So I'm going to start, hopefully. There we go. Okay. So we have this, I thought I'd kind of take just a few minutes in our presentation to give a mid-year economic development update on what's happening in the economy, specifically in Williamson County. So if you'll, this is our economic dashboard. We just redesigned this. It's in the Point if you get that every month. It's also on our website. And I just wanted to point out a few things. There's a lot more data in it, but I just wanted to highlight just a couple things that I think is really relevant to this group. First of all, the unemployment number in April, 3.9%. We are the only county in Tennessee below 4%, lowest in the state, have been for basically the last 2 years or so. And are, again, running about 3 points behind Tennessee in the U.S. So we've had a really, really good run here in the last 2 years. And I think, oh gosh, the pastor said it best, right? I mean, it's the job of this organization and any thriving community is to make sure we can create the opportunities that allow companies to come in and fill these jobs. Nothing gives someone the nobility like a job. So I really do think this is one of the most important numbers that we track are the people who move to this community, who grow up in this community, who, once they go to college and come back to this community, are they able to find work? And in Williamson County, that answer is yes, and that's a great thing. Commercial development numbers, we'll talk a little more about that with LBMC's presentation, but running pretty tight, especially in Cool Springs. As some of this product comes online, if you were here for the Outlook Williamson in March, you heard about all the commercial development coming down the line. This will help free up space that will allow companies to come in and continue to grow in Williamson County. And finally, local sales tax income, we're up from 2013, we're up from 2012. So things certainly have turned in the right direction. In fact, Williamson County was one of 3 counties in Tennessee that technically didn't experience the recession in 2008, which is also a great thing. A couple other things I wanted to point out. Our economic development pipeline, these are companies that are looking to relocate here, stay here, or expand in Williamson County. 33 total projects our office is working right now. 30% existing companies, 70% of these are new to the region. But I will say, I'm just guessing that most of the jobs, the large job projects, are actually existing companies in the region. We're still not seeing the impetus for a lot of companies to make big relocation moves. There are a couple of examples out there, but not that many. So most of our job growth, like if you heard the announcement from Brookdale Senior Living, 160 jobs last week, and Brentwood, come from existing industries. Again, it's so important for us to stay in touch with what's happening. Next. Just some headlines. This actually comes from our quarterly update out of the Economic Development Department, out of the Chamber, and I just wanted to point out a couple things here. First of all, you may have seen the ranking that put Williamson County Schools as the #1 school district in the country for a student population over 20,000 people. Fantastic, great ranking. We know that the economic development success is absolutely tied to our school system. Next, it shouldn't come to any surprise to anybody here, we were named again the fastest growing county in Tennessee. And finally, something that probably didn't get a lot of press, actually Kirkland's is moving their headquarters from Nashville into Brentwood and taking some of that old LifePoint space. So, we're seeing more and more, and I think most of that LifePoint space is actually filled up, which is a great thing for Brentwood, great thing for Williamson County. Just wanted to point out a couple of rankings that we've received in the last quarter, I believe. Greatest Southern Towns, you all heard a lot about that. Garden and Gun, best high schools, best school district I mentioned, top 10 best cities for kids that Judy mentioned earlier, richest small cities, fastest growing American cities, Franklin number 14 on the list. And finally, best cities for information jobs. As you all know, we spent a lot of time really promoting IT jobs, both for students looking to come in, but also people who may have those latent IT skills that are looking for open jobs. Still remains 800 or so open jobs in Middle Tennessee for IT, but it's important that this is a sector that's growing, which allows companies like LBMC to continue to grow as well. And the final thing I'm just going to touch on, this is actually some research that Amanda in our office did in economic development. And we sort of knew this, but it's great to actually see it on paper. So what this chart actually shows is the median property tax paid in the specific counties as a percent of median income. Median, back from your statistics class, is the midpoint between half or above, half or below. So what you see is Williamson County, Tennessee, 2.17%. If you compare it to, again, no shocker here, New York is at 9.28%. So really what this shows is that you'll have more disposable income if you come, locate your business, choose to live in Williamson County. It's a big selling point, not just for the county, but the entire Nashville region. And it's great when you can look at how we compare to cities across the country. And this final chart, before I introduce the mayor, actually puts the numbers. So the median income, again, half or below, half or above Williamson County. It also shows the median property tax. So we talk about this a lot when we're really selling this area as a great location for business. What are the cost savings going to be? It's not just the quality of schools, it's not just what you get when you move here, but it's also the money that you can save. Whether you don't have a state income tax and your property taxes are very, very low compared to the rest of the country. So anyway, just a few things I think that's important to point out. Now, it's really an honor for me to introduce someone who personifies servant leadership, and that's the mayor of Brentwood, Betsy Crosley, who's going to introduce our main program today. I told her I was going to do something a little different. And I don't like reading bios. I could go on forever about Betsy. She's done so many fantastic things, served on so many fantastic state boards, and was just appointed June 5th to Tasser by the governor, which is an incredibly big deal, and we're really lucky to have it. But I thought I'd use this picture instead. No, don't worry, it's not one of those, right? So this actually was taken over a Friday and Saturday night last year in August. And I think this just shows the kind of person that she is. From the Friday night to cooking bananas Fosters for the Leadership Brentwood class, to Saturday night, the next night, driving a cart for the Williamson County Fair. That's just the kind of person she is. That's the kind of leadership that's embraced and exemplified in this county, and I'm thrilled to be able to call her a friend and one of the great leaders of Williamson County. Please help me introduce the mayor of Brentwood, Presley Crossman.
Matt, that was very kind. Thank you so much. I guess as all of you might have already heard, LBMC, a 30-year business partner with the city of Brentwood, has decided to expand. And not only have they decided to expand, but they have decided to expand that anchor and remain in the city of Brentwood and the proposed new Hill Center of Brentwood. So we are so fortunate that Landlord Black, Morgan & Kane has decided to stick with Brentwood is the topic today. So it's a true honor for me to be able to introduce two folks from Landlord Black, and I wish you 30 more years of sticking with Brentwood. Mike Kane is a certified public accountant and personal finance specialist. His diversified experience with a variety of industries, including healthcare, manufacturing, distribution, construction, real estate, services, and restaurants and others. He frequently consults on business matters with closely held businesses and their owners, and has served as a consultant and expert witness for legal counsel with regard to financial issues. He often works closely with clients in connection with the acquisition and sale of businesses, and has been involved in providing investment advisory services to high-wealth individuals. His previous experience includes practicing with the Nashville office of KBMG LLP. And Jeff Drummond, a certified public accountant, is the partner in charge of tax service at LBMC, and has extensive experience in delivering value-added tax services to clients with an emphasis on the healthcare industry. Over the course of his 24-year career, he has coordinated tax services to over 20 public companies and has been involved in numerous venture capital transactions and SEC filings. His experience includes working with a wide variety of healthcare entities that include healthcare systems, hospitals, ambulatory care centers, long-term care facilities, and ancillary healthcare companies. And in addition, Jeff has significant experience in mergers and acquisitions, tax accounting issues, state and local tax planning, and tax outsourcing engagements. And prior to joining LBMC, Jeff was a tax partner with a national accounting firm, which is panel presentation. Would you all join me in welcoming Mike Kane and Jeff Drummond?
Kick this ball here, make sure it's through. Can you guys hear me okay? Yeah. Okay, great. Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate that introduction. I am kind of disappointed that I didn't have any bananas Foster at the table. That sounded just something that fits me really well. Jeff and I really appreciate the chance to come down here and spend some time with you guys and tell you a little bit about LBMC and some of our history, and in particular some of the plans that we have for the coming years. And it's exciting for us. It's a very significant time in our history. June 1st, 1984, 30 years ago, Jim Lattimore and Charlie Black, David Morgan and myself, and Crowley Graham started our first office in Brentwood, Tennessee. So that was the start of this firm, and so we just celebrated our 30th anniversary. And we've changed a lot during that period of time. We've changed and we've grown. And as I was kind of thinking about a lot of the things about this presentation, the thing that really struck me is that there are so many similarities to what's happened to us and what's happened to this county. I mean, when you really look at it, a lot of things have changed. And so we'll spend a little time talking about our history and where we are today and how that compares to what's going on within the county. And then Jeff will spend a little more time talking a little more specifically about some of our planned office moves that I know is interesting. And if we have enough time, I may share another few nuggets of information that's come about over the last 30 years, but we'll leave that and see. So let's see here. First about me. I moved to Nashville about 40 years ago from Western Kentucky. And 35 years ago, moved over into Brentwood. So I may not be a native here, but I've been here for a long time now. You know, we've lived literally for extended periods in Indian Point, in Britt Mead, in the Governor's Club, down Annandale. And really in between those things, I've lived on, while we built these houses, I've lived on Morris Lane, and on Carruthers, and on Church Street, and a house in Mayfield Place. So I've been run out of subdivisions all over this county. So I've been here for a while now, so I have a pretty good frame of reference historically about all the things that have gone on here. And as a lot of you know, a lot of change during that period of time. You can get there we go. The firm itself has actually done some of the same things. When we started out, our first office was right there in Maryland Farms, in the 3 Maryland Farms building. We were there while we waited for the Churchill Place building to be built. We later moved into the Fairlawns building, which is right there behind Mayor Bowles. But as we grew and evolved, we wound up having to have companies located everywhere. So we had offices in Green Hills and Brentwood Commons and one of the Crescent buildings and the 2 Maryland Farms buildings. So we evolved and changed a lot during that period of time. And then back in 2001, we were able to move into our current offices there in Maryland Farms at the Financial Center. Jeff will be talking a little more about some of the plans for the Hill Center. We're really excited about that and looking forward to it. Let me stand over here, make it a little easier to get my remote to work. Just a few snapshot things, and I will try to spend some time to give you a framework for this discussion about LBMC. And we do a lot of things, and we've done a lot of things, and we've changed a lot. So I'll try to cover it as quickly as I can, and I apologize if it feels a little like drinking from a fire hose, but we'll try to move it along anyway. We're currently the largest accounting and business advisory firm based in Tennessee, about number 3 in the Southeast and the 44th largest in the U.S. I was thinking about that a little earlier today. I'm sure a lot of you have children that play youth sports or have. I know I have. And I got to thinking how many times the kids would come home from a tournament and say, "Hey, Dad, we got 44th," you know. So it doesn't sound all that impressive, actually. But to put it in perspective, when we started this firm 30 years ago, there were 47,000 CPA firms across the United States. And at the time, we were right around number 47,000, I think. So to come from number 47,000 to number 44, we're proud of that. And I think it reflects a lot about not just what we've done, but a lot of what's happened within this community. We have about 400, I think roughly right now around 420 employees. 306 of those are actually based out of our Brentwood office, so that's the lion's share of what we do. And we serve about 9,000 business and individual clients. Our offices, we do have offices in Chattanooga and Knoxville as well, and those are really great offices and great towns, but clearly Brentwood and Williamson County is a real driver, and as well as the rest of it in Tennessee. It's a real driver in our growth, and that's where so much of our business is located. I'll touch on 2 or 3 things too that I think have been important to our success. The core purpose that we have here is why we exist as a business. And we adopted that very early and articulated it very early in our careers. And it's to basically help our clients solve problems and take advantage of opportunities. And that gave us the framework for what we've become right now. Because there's nothing in our core purpose that deals with accounting or tax. It's really helping our clients where they need help and where we can. So that was very foundational about what we evolved to. As a part of that too, at the same time, we really tried to articulate our core values, and that is how we're going to conduct ourselves and what's important to us and what we're going to be and what we're going to adhere to. And those things have been very important to us as well, with respect for our clients and each other, extraordinary competence, absolute integrity, continuous learning, high expectations and accountability, and a commitment to a balanced quality of life. Those things are important to us. And really that core purpose and those core values have always given us a touchstone to come back to. With any kind of decision that we get ready to do, it's always easy to go back to that and say, does that really help us fulfill our core purpose? And is that in accordance with our core values? And when we've made decisions that way, they've been good decisions. Long term, I think they will. We've gotten some awards and recognition over the years that we're proud of, but I think as much as anything else, those things help us to understand that we're doing some of the right things. You know, a lot of these best place to work recognition that we've received on a local and national level have been great for us. The Technology Pacesetter Awards, the best of the best, the highest growth sorts of things. Those are things that are important to us because if we're doing the right things, that's going to be true. If that's not true, then we won't get those things. So it's important to us to keep up with those things. The other is kind of a commitment to excellence. You'll see as we talk a little later that we've evolved a lot in terms of the sort of things that we provide to our clients. And these are just a lot of the credentials and the designations that a lot of our folks have throughout the organization. I can't even tell you what some of them are, to tell you the truth, so I won't even pretend to. But what it comes down to is this. The business world has gotten so complex that you need very solid resources in very technical areas to work through those things. And so we've tried to assemble a lot of folks in very broad technical spaces related to financial, HR, and IT disciplines to help deal with some of those things. Now, I won't lead you through all the history of what is up here, but as you can see, since we started in '84, as early as 1986, we were starting to add other service areas. And we did those, again, by just responding to the needs of our clients. And I'm sure a lot of you are in this room that those needs changed over the years. Your businesses grew, you evolved, the regulations got more complex, the business community got more complex. And so many things changed during that period of time where you had different needs and we had to add resources to address those needs. And that's how we've become what we are today. So this is what we look like. We have an infrastructure that's a little unusual. We have 7 different operating companies under the LBMC umbrella. But for the most part, what we've tried to do is really go out and attract very strong people in very technical areas and let them focus on their business, growing their business, getting clients, serving clients. And we provide a framework and an infrastructure to help them really focus on that. And from that, we've evolved into these different service lines that, again, for the most part, deal with financial issues, technology issues, and human resource issues. I'll give you the 30,000-foot level of each of these real quickly, and I'll try to do it. Lattimore Bank Morgan Kane, of course, is the CPA firm, which was the foundation company for all of this that started back in '84. And as you might expect, we started out doing traditional accounting and auditing and tax services for primarily privately owned businesses and families that ran those businesses and own those businesses. And that's still the lion's share of our business. It's been the backbone from day one, and I would expect it to continue. But we've changed a lot during that period of time too. Since then, we've added divisions that do litigation support services, a lot of business valuation services, IT security services, family office services for family groups, that sort of thing. So the traditional CPA firm has changed quite a bit as well. We have an investment advisory firm called LBMC Investment Advisors, where we provide investment advisory services primarily for high wealth individuals and family groups. It's been a great business for us. We have around $900 million under management in this company now. And it fits really well with the client base that we have of business owners and families. LBMC Technologies is a technology consultant. It has a very broad client base as well. And for the most part, they provide services in 3 big areas: network engineering, software development, and business systems. The business system side deals with accounting systems. We support a number of those, CRM software, document management software, workflow, business intelligence applications. It's a pretty involved service offering, and it's something that we need ourselves, and I know a lot of our clients need a lot of those services too, because technology is changing so dramatically all the time. The managed security services operation is slightly different. It deals with the company's IT security. And it's a managed platform that's 24/7 monitoring, more or less, a data integrity, operation, intrusion detection and prevention type of service where there's 24/7 monitoring of companies, networks, and websites, and that sort of thing. So it's a nice fit for us. Planning services deals with strategic planning for companies, where we work with a lot of business owners in terms of planning for the initiatives in their companies. The staffing company is the first, one of the companies that focuses more on the HR side. The staffing company deals with permanent placements and contracts people in financial, HR, and IT positions. So we place a lot of folks out there in companies all over Middle Tennessee right now in those positions. Employment Partners is really the HR outsourcing arm of what we do. They have a full PEO, which is a kind of total outsourcing of everything to do with HR. But we also do payroll outsourcing, benefits administration, HR consulting, things like that. So for the most part, that's who we are. It's a broad spectrum, and I don't expect you to remember all those things or even care about all those things, but I wanted to give you a framework for what we are, because it will help you to understand kind of how that ties into what we're trying to do. This is a kind of a graph of our growth rate. When we started in 1984, I think we did a few $100,000 in revenue, if I remember right. The year that we just finished, we did about roughly $75 million, I guess, in revenue. And you can see we've had tremendous growth. These circles you see on the graph represent the census numbers from the Williamson County census at those different periods of time in terms of population. So you can see the way that Williamson County growth has tracked that. And I think it is a big part of what's happened to us as a firm. I mean, this county has grown, Nashville has gone well. The whole Middle Tennessee market is a great market. And I think, being here has had a big impact on what we've become. And I think most of you would probably say the same things about your business. As we talked about before, the vast majority of what we do is based here in Nashville. We have good practices in Chattanooga and Knoxville, but Nashville is, in the whole Middle Tennessee market, is about 80% of what we do revenue. The other thing that I think is really very much an indicator of this local economy is the industries we serve. This is a very diverse marketplace around here, which is great. I think it helps all of us because it keeps some of the really bad things that happen with economic downturns. It insulates us to a certain extent. Now, our practice is very much like that. We have a real broad concentration of industries we work with. As you might expect, healthcare is probably our largest industry segment and probably our fastest growing. But we have big presences in manufacturing, distribution, services, real estate, some construction, auto dealers, financial companies, and then just a broad smattering of all sorts of businesses. And that's what this economy is locally. I'm sure you all see it with what you deal with in your businesses. It's a great place to be because it's so diverse. And then the last thing I'll touch on is really what we refer to as client characteristics. It's really what kind of companies are these? What kind of clients are they? What kind of individuals? Going back to what we talked about earlier, our history's been, we started out serving almost entirely private companies and families that own those companies. That was the core of our client base in those days, and it's still the lion's share of what we've become. But that's what this economy was when we first started. If you think about it, in those days, there were nowhere near the number of public companies that there are now. Private equity-backed organizations weren't as prominent as they are now. But those are areas that have grown dramatically. So our presence we have with private equity-backed companies is growing every day. The number of public companies we work with is growing every day. And of course, with a lot of these other things, there's a large not-for-profit concentration here in Middle Tennessee that really provides a big segment of our business. And individuals are still a very important part. There are a lot of, I think you saw the chart a little earlier that gives you an indication. There's so much out there in terms of income in Middle Tennessee. And those are complicated family situations, and we spend a lot of time working with those folks. So again, it's a great place to be. And I think hopefully most of you all would agree that Middle Tennessee's been a great place to be in business over the last 30 years or however long you've been here, for sure. So again, I won't try to spend any more time on LBMC. I wanted to try to just run through that fairly quickly to give you a sense of what we are, because I think that'll tie in a little further to some of the things that we'll be talking about as far as where we're going and what our plans are for the next 30 years. So now I'll let Jeff take over for a little bit here.
You're doing such a good job running the show here, I was going to let you keep on. Carter, I want you to pay attention to this because we'll be ready for you when you get out of school. Okay? Hopefully Jimmy and his team will have all this done and we'll be ready. Today we're in almost the heart of Maryland Farms, Virginia Way. We've got, what, 60,000 square feet? And I think last year, you know, we have just a slight peak in our business around March and April. I think last year, in the heat of busy season, we had one empty chair. One chair. That's a problem. It's a problem what we do for 2 years between now and what's coming, but it's a good problem to have. That's where we are. LBMC tomorrow or LBMC fast forward in 2 years, we hope we're right here. We're excited about it, our people are excited about it, and we think it's going to be a great thing for Brentwood. And we've got a few more pictures and slides to share on this. What did we consider when we were looking for new office space? The one thing we considered is we wanted to stay in Middle Tennessee. Obvious. As Mike said, great place to be. As I remind my team sometimes, you know, don't read your own headlines, and this would be a whole lot tougher if we were sitting in Cleveland or Toledo or a lot of other cities. But we wanted to stay in proximity to where people live, where our clients are, where people have their homes, people have their children, all of those things. Amenities. We honestly wanted something more than the typical Brentwood red brick standalone office building. And that's what we wanted. And I can assure you the generation and generations behind us wanted that even more than we did. So that was a big driver. Quality, design, flexibility. We've been in airspace 13 years this fall. It'll be 15 years when we move. We do business much differently today than we did 13 years ago when we moved into that building. Much more mobile workforce. We travel more. We collaborate more. Use a lot more technology. It's changed dramatically. It'll change dramatically 15 years from now. But we need different space, different look, different feel, different layout. We've already touched on this. I'll say this is a great recruiting tool for us. Brentwood, believe it or not, doesn't have quite the buzz that the Gulch does or other areas with the younger employees, the people right out of school. But this is a tremendous advantage to us when we start recruiting experienced hires. My latest hire, very experienced person, very strong person. We're helping him, as he said, escape Memphis. He is delighted to be coming to Williamson County. Okay. So it's a major, major benefit for us in our strategy. Here's where our employees live, best we can tell. Some of that continues to move. Believe it or not, and I kind of shook my head at this, we've got people coming almost from Cookville, Shelbyville, Columbia, Clarksville, Springfield, all coming to Brentwood. Setting aside the mayor, as she knows, getting here is not always the problem. Getting out of Maryland Farms is the challenge. So that's something that drove our decision as well. So here's what we're looking at. I told Jimmy hopefully I wouldn't say anything wrong up here, but we are planning on being really in that far right quadrant. And that's at the corner of Maryland Way and Franklin Road. Basically, what you're looking at is going to be a combination of office, retail, and we're delighted about the opportunity of our folks being able to walk out at lunch, being able to walk out at the evenings, walk out into a park, see some green grass, be able to grab a sandwich, be able to go grab one of those big old muffins at Puffy Muffin. But that's great for us. On the more healthy side, be able to walk through the park, go to the Y, come back. We think this will be an outstanding location for us. We're excited about it, and as someone who lives also in Brentwood and has lived there for a long time, frankly, I'm just as excited about Brentwood having this to anchor that corner. These are a couple of other schematics of what we envision this looking like. Again, combination of retail, first floor, office space above, office space behind, ample parking, be able to get out, walk. These are a lot of things that our people are asking for. So this has really been a dream site for us in putting this together. So what are we looking at around new office design? If you come in our office today, you may find this hard to believe, but accountants are not exactly out there in their office space design. So it looks like, a typical professional services firm. Big office. My office is way too big. Everybody fighting for the corners, everybody fighting for the office on the walls. You're not going to be fighting about that moving forward, I can tell you. Multiple practice areas. Mike told you we have technology group. You walk down there, you think no one's there because the light's out. You peek around and they're sitting in there banging out code. We've got other people that are in the office maybe a handful of days every month. They're out with the clients, they're traveling. We've got people like myself that, it seems like today I meet for a living. That's what I do. I'm in meetings almost continuously. Meetings are on the phone. So we need flexible space, we need different space. What the technology group needs is much different from what the tax group needs. We need the ability to be able to flex and rise and fall with the seasonality of our business. But most of all, what we need is really something that keeps that great feeling of team that we have at LBMC, where people can interact, they can see one another, they can talk around the water cooler, and we think we'll be able to accomplish that. So what you're probably going to see, smaller offices, a lot more glass, offices on the inside, other work areas out by the windows, and those are all things that we're continuing to work through as part of this process. Anything I left out?
I don't think so.
So before we get to this, this would probably be a better conversation if we had two things. One, if it was over cocktails, and two, if we had Jim Lattimore up here with us. Because Mike has said forever that when he retires, he's going to write a book about things he's learned. And I would imagine there'll be a couple of chapters that'll be a little more entertaining than what he's going to talk about. But we did want to share just a few things that we've learned kind of growing up in this community over the last 30 years.
Thank you, Jeff. As Jeff said, we are really excited about the new space and that sort of thing, because in our eyes, it's just the beginning of the next 30 years. It's what's next for us, because I think we all have to evolve and change, and I think it really gives us excitement. It's part of what really drives us to be coming to work every day. If there's something in all your businesses that you're passionate about, that really makes you want to get up and come in and go to that next step. This is pretty random. It's just a series of little nuggets that I think that have kind of come to resonate with us over the last, in my case, about 40 years of being in this profession and working with business owners, wholesale business and those business owners. But then more so than that, over the last 30 years, I've actually been one of those trying to start and grow these businesses. And so there are some themes out there that are pretty interesting. And I won't dwell on them. I know that we promised we'd get you out of here on time and we'll move it along. So I won't dwell on these individual ones. But if you're sitting with a business owner at your table, see if they don't find some agreement here and there on some of these things. One, being an entrepreneur is not for the faint of heart. You know, it's not an easy thing to do, and it's not without its challenges and its fear and everything else. So it's certainly not. And I think as a tag on to that, don't start a business because you think it's easier than working for a big company. Because I can tell you it's not, and I think any of you who've been in that role will tell you that it's not. This is so important. You really need to be passionate about what you plan to do in your business. Because no matter how exciting it is, no matter how much you love it and how much you enjoy working with your clients, every day there's something that's going to be a problem. Every day there's something that's going to pull you down or distract you or get you diverted from the things that made you move into this bigger, whatever your business is to start with. So you've got to be passionate about to fight through those things and keep moving forward. This is one that partner David Morgan loves to use. And he's always right. He still hasn't told me how much longer, but it always takes longer and it always costs more. And I think it does. You know, it's gotten to the point that every time someone comes in and we sit down and start talking about their projections, which are really conservative projections on anything, no matter what it is, these really conservative projections, there's no such thing. It does take longer than you think. It's going to cost you more than you think. So you have to be prepared for that. And then these two tie together. The right partners are great assets. You know, I think that for those of you here that are entrepreneurs and business owners, I mean, that's a lonely job. It really is. You need advisors you can rely on, people you can talk to, people you can bounce things off of. And ideally, if you have the right partners, that's who you can talk to. But on the other hand, the wrong partners are impossible to compensate. And I mean that seriously, in that people have to be on the same page. If you're partners within a business, you've got to be going in the same direction. You've got to be pulling in the same direction. For us, it just doesn't work. And you have to keep that in mind and be willing to do the things that make sense. You need to be able to clearly articulate the reason you're in business. You know, we refer to it as our core purpose, and I know a lot of people use different terms for it. But there has to be some reason that you even exist as a business. And by the same token, how are you going to conduct that business, your core values? Those things are important. If you really want to stay true to your mission and what you're trying to accomplish and who you want to be, you need those things to where you can fall back on and really challenge yourself. The right business model is critical. As you all know from your own experience and the things we've talked about today, the world changes. And you can be the greatest thing in the world at something, but if nobody cares, it doesn't matter. If nobody wants what you do, it doesn't matter. You're not going to be successful if you're not feeling a need for someone. And this is something that is not always easy to say, because we all have to be cost conscious about what we do, but given the choice, in the long run, better almost always trumps cheaper. And I can give you example after example over the years of things we've tried to do. We decided we'd do it this way because we could save some money. We just did it ourselves, or we didn't really call to ask them advice from a professional on something. And it always comes back to haunt. So I can tell you better almost always trumps cheaper. And then you should constantly be improving every aspect of your business every year. You're either going forward or you're going backward. You just can't stay still. And if you're not really fighting through and trying to get better in every piece of the things that go on within your business, you won't be successful long term. And the same thing, you have to sweat the small stuff every day. I think there's so many things that don't seem important, but they are. I mean, if you're doing it, then it must be important for something. And so you really have to pay attention to the details. You have to stay on top of it every day. This is the one I'm going to end with, because I think this is something that is actually much easier to do here in Middle Tennessee than it is in a lot of places in the country. But relationships are important. You know, people say that this is a relationship business, and sometimes we really discount that, but we shouldn't discount it. Because there's a saying that all things being equal, people would rather do business with people they like. All things not being equal, people would rather do business with people they like. And so I think that if you go away with nothing else, to us, that's critical. I mean, we can be the greatest technicians in the world, but if you don't want to talk to us, then we're not going to be successful. And that's the same for any of our businesses. So with that, I'm going to end, and I know we promised to get you out of here on time. I don't know if you have time for any questions, or if not, Jeff and I can certainly stay around afterward and answer some. And just for your edification, I know from HT Hill, and I'm sure they can probably tell you a lot more about the particular development if you want to talk to them some after the meeting as well. Thank you all. All right, appreciate it. Thank you.
Thanks so much for that. There we go. That was fantastic. I really appreciate how you put your company into context. I like you talk about the future plans that you've got. And more importantly than anything, I think it's really important that we really foster this notion of a learning community. So ending with the lessons you've learned over the past 30 years is exactly what I want this Chamber of Commerce to be about. It's about people in business connecting and learning from each other. And if anybody took anything from this, there's a way for us to share with our peers. You can send an email to meetingnotes@williamsonchamber.com. List your top 3 or 4 takeaways from the event. We'll put it on our blog online, and we'll share that with business owners. And I think when you ended by talking about relationships, that really is what it's all about. And that's exactly why we're here, is to help foster relationships among the 1,300 or so members with each other. Just a couple of announcements before we go. You should see this on your table. This is about our Business Expo. It's going to be September 27th, I believe, in the 25th, right on there, on the factory from 3 to 7 o'clock. A little different this year. We've actually got a speaker who's going to keynote the event. She's going to talk about what it's like to work across cultures. Anybody that has any employees deals with this all the time. So you'll be seeing a lot more about this, but just wanted to draw this to your attention. We'll be back together at a more godly hour during lunch on July 15th, I think, 17th? 15th, there we go, I got it, July 15th, for County Mayor Roger Sanderson's State of the County Address. He said he was going to do something different this year, but Mayor Moore, I don't think it's going to be singing or dancing. So anyway, make sure you come to that, have a great day, and thanks so much for your investment in this county and this chamber.